I'm John Clark, and about a year and a half ago, I was pulled into, or maybe pushed into, or maybe wrapped up in working with young adults here in the church. And it started, long story, try to make it as short as possible. It started realizing that I had been working with youth and really young adults in some way, shape, or capacity in careers. Had been an adjunct professor prior. Actually took a job teaching at UNC and was working with college students and college age kids, early to mid 20s, and just working with, mentoring with, kind of hang out with, just getting to know and helping them along. I got a different job in 2016, and it was the first time in a long time that I hadn't been working with young adults. Last summer, I got approached by someone within this church, a good friend of mine, who asked me, "Hey, what do we have here at church for young adults, for folks in their 20s?" And I said I didn't really know. And about 2 days later, I got an email from someone else who said, "Hey, do you know of anything for young adults here in the church? I've got someone that I would love to kind of get plugged in and don't really know where to send them, and thought you would be a good person to ask." And I was like, okay, great. And then I had a conversation with Shelby, who also kind of mentioned this notion around young adults, and is that something I'd be interested in? And it really occurred to me that it was the first time in a long time, for a few years, that I had not been working with students, with folks in college starting out, and it felt like there was a big need here, and I really wanted to make sure that I didn't like the notion of people saying we don't really have anything here for young adults, and that was a pretty strong pull, and it was a pull in many directions. So I worked with Shelby, worked with some others. We got a list and literally just started emailing out and reaching out to folks and saying, "Hey, would you come and have coffee with us?" And that's how it started, and that's turned into a spot, I think, for folks in their 20s to come, be together, hang out, learn a little bit, sometimes drink coffee, and even now we're going through Core 1. So it's a spot where I felt a pretty good nudge from a lot of different places over a long period of time, and realizing, just put it together, that maybe this is a way for us to attack something and make something positive and special that didn't exist before. I think it's important that we realize that even if we don't notice it, that we're put in positions and we're put in places, and people are put around us to nudge us in places, to pull us in places, and to maybe help see things that we wouldn't necessarily see. It's really up to us to respond to that. Being aware and listening to when people ask questions of you or for you, rather than just coming up with an answer. Maybe there's something else to be asking yourself that's in that question. Maybe something else that God might be asking you that's hidden in that question that may not be apparent. It's helpful to think through that way. It's not Mr. Frank asking me something about young adults. It might be God asking me something about young adults.